Hăīre, φίλε, and welcome. Today we're going to be in John chapter 4, taking a look at verses 39 and 40. But first, last time in John. There you have it. Here's the rubric, everything we look for as we go through the text. Let's go ahead and get started. Ek de tes poleos akenes poloi episteuson eis auton ton samari ton diaton logon tes gunaikos marturuses hoti e pen moi panta ha epoiesa hos un elthon pros auton hoi samaritai eroton auton menai par autois kai emenen eke duo hemeros. And that's as far as we're going to make it. Very first thing that we have is a prepositional phrase, so let's go ahead and bracket that. Conjunction doesn't matter very much for that. Correct case, correct case, correct case. Poloi is the wrong case, so our prepositional phrase ends right there. Not a verb, but we find the verb right here with alpha nu as the ending. We've got the sigma addition to the stem, and our epsilon augmenting belt. It's not augmenting belt. Whatever the thing's called. I should really remember this. Anyway, alpha nu with the prefix vowel right there tells us that this is going to be a past tense with the sigma. We know that it's going to be the aorist, so that's a alpha nu third plural aorist active and indicative. Pisteuo means to believe. We want to find our subject, which we have right here before it with poloi. It's nominative, plural, masculine, generic. Ace is a new prepositional phrase right there, and there's no accent, so we know that it's not the word for one. But before we get to that, let's go back to our first prepositional phrase. Actually, de we should probably handle. And ek takes the genitive, which you find here with tes and eos. Canis is also correct for that. So we've got genitive singular. Tes tells us that it's feminine. Akenes confirms that for us since it's got the eta ending right there. And poleos is town or city. And don't remember which we've been going for with translating this. Town probably makes more sense since they're the small hamlets out there. And that, the further demonstrative, many, and make sure that there's nothing that poloi is modifying. Ace to auton, wrong form to be part of this prepositional phrase, but since it's genitive, it might be sandwiched inside. Samariton. Dia is a new prepositional phrase, so this one actually has to end here with auton. Samariton is wrong for that, but it has to own something as a genitive. It could own ace auton with that omicron nu, so that's plus accusative. Singular and masculine. We know because of the nu that it has to be masculine. This is going to be referring back to Jesus, who has just finished speaking. And I don't remember if I closed the quotes. Well, I'll have to do that after the video if I haven't. Anyway, so we know this refers back to Jesus as he's the object of the preposition right here. And he's not a Samaritan, even though people do sometimes call him a Samaritan. So Samariton cannot be owning him. Instead, it has to own something else. Diaton logon, that doesn't work either. It goes with tes. So instead, poloi makes the most sense. So poloi, ton, samariton, many, moving this up here for genitive, plural, masculine, generic, so the women would be included in this. And then now we can handle this prepositional phrase right here. Dia, clearly taking the accusative. There I go, using clearly again. Logon is a masculine noun, and it's singular. Tes is the wrong form to be the object of dia, but we need to check further on. Hoti does not fit either, so our prepositional phrase has to end here, but with tes owning this prepositional phrase. Many believed in him. Dia here means through, that it has the idea of cause behind it. So showing. Word is how we normally translate this. We could also say report. That's a good option. tes, gunaikos, omicron, sigma right there. Ace tells us that this is feminine, which we should know automatically because of what it means. So genitive, singular, feminine. But before we write that down, marturouses, we've got eta sigma right there, which means it's modifying gunaikos. But this ending right here should give us pause for a moment. So this is off of martureo. It is a verb stem, but with ouses, we know that this is actually going to be a participial ending. And the feminine, there's Phrygius Calamitus. The feminine ending of the participle is different from the masculine, if you recall. So if we're masculine, it would be marturon, marturuntos, because we've got the epsilon contract. So the omicron on the ontos genitive ending would become omicron upsilon. So the feminine, since the ending, the suffix that makes it into a participle is already omicron upsilon, and there is no contracting. It's just the accent might change depending on what the actual case ending is. And this is a first declension ending, which makes feminine participles actually very easy to parse normally. So this is also genitive singular, feminine, present, active, participle, through the word, and we could say of the witnessing woman. Hoti, introducing a new type of clause. That apen, epsilon nu right there. Seen this one many times before, don't need to parse it. However, before we add it in as a translation, we want to make sure, does it belong in the clause before the hoti, which can happen but would be unusual, or does it belong in the hoti clause, which would be more normal? And to do that, we need to find out, is there a main verb in this clause? Moi, no. Panta, no. Ha, so that's from hos, he, ho, the relative pronoun. So this is introducing a subordinate clause inside of the hoti clause. So no main verb yet. Epoiesa is going to be the verb of the relative clause. And then verse 40 starts a new sentence. So there is no main verb other than apen. So apen does have to be in the hoti clause. That, quote marks, he said, and he, of course, would be Jesus. Moi, to me, as dative, singular. Panta, this could be either nominative plural or accusative plural of the neuter, or it could be the accusative of the masculine. We already have a subject in apen, so accusative plural neuter makes the most sense, especially since we've got that ha right there, which is the nominative or accusative plural neuter relative pronoun, again from there. Epoiesa, alpha right there for our first person ending, epsilon prefix, sigma as an addition to the stem, therefore a first singular aorist active indicative. All things, what things let's go ahead and say have done. You could say I did, which is a little bit odd in English. Then 40, hos un elthon, wrong form there to be a continuation of this quote. So close it off here. Un is therefore, hos means just as. It can have other special clauses, which we would determine whether or not we have a subjunctive verb, which with elthon we do not. Omicron nu is very normal. So we have either a first person singular or a third person plural ending. So we need to look, do we have a nominative subject that could be plural? Pros, prepositional phrase right there. Auton, omicron nu, plus accusative. Singular, masculine. Hoi, wrong form, so a prepositional phrase ends there. And hoi tells us that we do have a plural subject. Therefore, third, plural, aorist tense again, active and indicative. Samaritai, alpha, iota. So we have we have feminine, so first declension endings onto this noun. As, therefore, so with an indicative, hos usually just means as. Eroton, omega, nu right there for that ending. Menai, we've got nu alpha iota, or just alpha iota as the ending. I think the nu is part of the stem here, so alpha iota would have to be the ending. But that is the wrong form to be a verb. Par, another prepositional phrase. Wrong there. So prepositional phrase has to end. So then that means eroton has to be our verb. Omega nu initially looks like a nominative, singular, masculine, present active participle ending, but note that we've got the eta right here. Eta means that we've got a augmenting vowel put onto the front, and this would be a contraction of epsilon and epsilon into the eta, because this is erotao. We've got alpha contraction verb, and that means that omega is not the normal vowel that we would find in here. So when alpha combines with omicron, the two of them together become omega, as epsilon together with epsilon becomes eta. So we get two contractions in there. So the verb is disguised, if you will. But this just tells us that omicron nu on the present tense stem is actually going to be a imperfect. Again, a third person to fit with our subject samare ti. And then this wants to take an accusative object, which we find in auton. We don't need to parse that. Menai is going to be what is asked of auton. So this is effectively here taking two accusatives, though menai is not a proper noun, if you will. Not proper as in a name, person, place, or thing. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, this alpha iota is just our infinitive ending. This is from meno. I don't remember the future tense, but I think it's meno with the accent on the omega. And then our aorist is mena, where we have this epsilon iota there. This is aorist, active, infinitive. So this would be to do once. They were asking, or we could say that they began to ask. And then our prepositional phrase, autois, there tells us that this is taking the dative as its case, and this is plural. It's going to be masculine too, of course, because omicron iota sigma, and it's referring to human beings, and we already have samare ti as masculine. Para plus the dative can mean among, it can mean before. So with the idea that we're getting here is with, even though normally we would use soon is the one I was thinking, but that's classical. If we were using soon or meta, those would be our normal prepositions of accompaniment. So this isn't accompaniment, instead this is proximity, if you will, as para can also mean at or nearby sometimes. So I'm going to say among them, comma, kai, and a mainen epsilon nu. Got our augmenting vowel right there, so this is just the aorist of that verb again, except it's an indicative, third, singular, aorist, active, indicative. A K is an adverb telling us location, and the duo, hemeros, alpha, sigma could be the genitive, but we don't want a genitive. There's nothing for it to own. Can't own there, can't own the verb. Instead, what we have is accusative. Don't need that C. Plural. Feminine, dual makes it plural. And it's the accusative of duration of time. And there we have it. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope taking a look at this has been helpful for you, and I hope that you have a very good day. Farewell.